Atlanta news first. Plus, starts now with the First Alert Weather Day.
First Alert meteorologist JD Dishroon here with an update not only on the showers and storms we've been seeing for tonight, but also what you can expect for the rest of the weekend and our next First Alert Weather Day, which is coming up on Tuesday with a cold front that's going to be trying to slide through the southeast, and that's going to be sparking off widespread showers and storms across our region. So here's the kind of play-by-play for the next few days. We're talking pop-up showers and storms resuming on as we head into your Sunday, your Monday, and then Tuesday. That's our First Alert Weather Day. Notice the widespread showers and storms helping to keep our temperatures a little on the cooler side. We'll be seeing those highs only into the mid-80s for your Tuesday afternoon, and we're going to be heating up after that. So, it's not going to be lasting for too much longer there. Meanwhile, as we take a look at the radar right now and put it full screen so I can kind of move it around a little bit without using the top of my head as I'm looking down. We're going to be seeing mainly the axis of rain pretty much just kind of along I-85 right now. And as we zoom into the metro area, you can see the heaviest of the showers and storms over Cobb County and then back over towards Gwinnett County as well. Brand new is this flash flood warning in effect in Fulton County and then also in DeKalb County until 11 p.m. And the reason for that is obviously the very heavy rain that we've been seeing over this area over the course of the last few hours. I'm going to zoom in here, and then I'm going to take off that warning box so we can kind of see what's going on. Taking a look, past 3 hour-wise, we're talking well over 2 inches of rain in some areas. So we're talking 2.25 inch rain in the Grant Park area of Atlanta. Over just south of Spaghetti Junction on 285, we're talking a little over 2 inches of rain in the past 3 hours. And I guarantee you most of this is going to be falling in a very short amount of time. So it's one of those things that we're going to have to keep an eye out for. I would not be surprised if we do get a flash flood warning for Cobb County, because even though they don't have one yet, take a look at some of these rainfall totals over the course of the last 3 hours. I mean, we're talking just to the east of the Powder Springs area, a little over 2 inches of rain, 2.5 inches of rain in the Austell area. So some very heavy downpours. In fact, let's just call it what it is. It's not a heavy downpour. It's been torrential downpours in some of these areas over the course of the past few hours or so. And the rain is continuing to fall in those areas. So, I zoomed out a little bit. I'm going to zoom right back into the Atlanta area because I want to show you, once we take the radar off, because it's green, the rain's green, it's kind of hard to see sometimes. We're going to put this on a loop. I want to show you how not far this is moving. You see those cell over Cobb County? It's maybe moved a few miles over the last several hours. Same for the cell over Buckhead. Really what's kind of happening is they aren't really moving as much as they are, much like last night, kind of expanding, collapsing, and their outflow is triggering more storms in areas nearby. So it's not that these particular storms are moving in a certain direction. What they're doing is when they collapse, the wind that's rushing out of them is then causing more storms to develop in the direction that they're headed. So, it's been unfortunately a pretty big whammy for folks along the airport. We heard about hundreds of flights as we go in towards the next, I'm sorry, I'm reading a text from Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Valdez. So they're sending me some videos of some really bad flooding in Atlanta right now where this flash flood warning is. So, it goes to show you that we are seeing some verification of this. A lot of the areas that are flooding are the areas that typically do. The video that they're showing me right now is on North Avenue in downtown Atlanta. And I can tell you that particular area floods very easily. I can tell you that because I used to live there. And the reason we no longer live there is our apartment flooded. So, a little backstory on my life there. But that just goes to show you what a few inches of rain can do over the course of, just a few hours or so. Let me go ahead and take this lapse off. I got a little too much going on here between that, the warning, the lightning, and all of that. So, it doesn't take a lot of rain in a short amount of time when we've had so much rain over the course of the past few days. It also doesn't take a lot of rain in urban areas where we have a lot of pavement and a lot of sidewalks and things like that. All it's going to do is take one storm drain clog to take an entire intersection and put it underwater. So, that's one of those things that we're going to kind of keep an eye out on. Now, that's not to say we're not going to be seeing the potential for flooding outside of the urban areas. Obviously, we had it yesterday for folks up into Cherokee County. We're seeing some localized flooding in Cobb County right now. We had some flooding up into the North Georgia mountains yesterday in Towns, Union, and White counties. But for the most part, it's the third day in a row. A lot of this has just been centered right in the heart of the metro area inside the perimeter. With a lot of showers and storms. I'm going to zoom in a little bit right now. This is a particularly strong cell. It's not severe, but it is on the stronger side. This is going to be northern Gwinnett and extreme southern Hall County. You see where we have that darker pink color. That's where we're going to be seeing probably some pea-sized hail with this particular system. Let's go ahead and query this. And it's showing, about an inch hail. So an inch would be the size of a quarter. Keep in mind, this is measuring the diameter of that hail where the radar beam is hitting it, tens of thousands of feet above the surface. So that hail will start to melt a bit as it falls. So that's why we're kind of saying pea to maybe dime-sized hail with that particular cell. But, anytime you see these darker pink colors and even starting to turn in towards the white and the black colors on the radar, that's usually a really good indicator that we have some hail here. And then possibly maybe some very small pea-sized hail just to the south of I-85 around the Mall of Georgia area. And again, this particular cell isn't really moving so much as it is just kind of staying in place, building up, and then you're seeing the outflow kind of push off towards the east. Folks, over near Brazelton and Hoxton, you're seeing some thunderstorms develop over your area as well, so kind of keep that in mind. So far today, and let's go ahead and knock on wood. I don't want to jinx us too much, but we have not had any severe warnings for this afternoon. That's some good news. So the showers and storms that we have been seeing are staying below those severe limits. And let's go ahead and zoom in on this one because this is also a newer cell that's pushing up and into the Carroll County area. So this is developing over the Bowden area, or really just south of that, and then trailing back down over towards the Carrollton area, at least the southern Carrollton area. Over in Carroll County. So this is, a stronger storm, not as strong as the one in Gwinnett, but, it's starting to build up. So just kind of something to keep an eye on as we go throughout the afternoon. And then I guess we're 8 o'clock now, so we'll call it the evening. The daylight in the summertime, I don't know about you, it confuses me a little bit. I'll think that for the most part we're still in the afternoon because it's so bright out there. Now, so the other things that I kind of want to talk about and mention in addition to the rain, because we do have a lot of it there, is what's it going to be doing later on this evening? A lot of you are kind of wondering about that. So the good news is we do expect once we get past sunset, we're going to lose a lot of the heat of the day, a lot of the energy, and that is going to help us get rid of these showers and storms. So by the time we get to midnight, for the most part, we're going to be looking at quiet skies, and that's really how it should stay as we get into tomorrow morning. And tomorrow is going to be very similar to today. I don't think the rain coverage is going to be as much as we saw this afternoon, but I do think we are going to see scattered showers and storms as we head throughout your Sunday afternoon, evening, and into the early overnight hours. Now, temperature-wise, it's not hard to see where the rain is. I know a lot of you know this. We're talking mid to upper 70s across most of North Georgia, but pockets that have not seen any rain and really kind of staying cloud-free, still in the mid-80s right now, 84 in Canton and Gainesville, 85 in Eatonton, and combine that with the humidity, and a few of you still feel pretty darn hot. It feels like 95 in Eatonton. It feels like 88, almost 90 degrees in Canton right now. So, we are kind of seeing that residual humidity in place right now. And really that overall humidity is what's helping us to, stay in this wetter pattern. And speaking of wet pattern right now, this is a live look of Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, and you can see those runways have plenty of water on them. For the second day in a row, they've just been hammered there at the airport. So, I feel so bad for the folks that have had those flights that have been canceled, delayed, and just kind of cascaded on through. Notice it is very humid, 71 for the dew point, 75 for the temperature. So it's almost 100% saturated there. And we're going to continue to watch that as we go into the evening hours, kind of stay around that area. In fact, looking at temperatures into the overnight, we do expect those temperatures maybe to bounce back up a little bit. It would not be, surprising at all to see that temperature bounce back up a few degrees just because we're not at sunset yet. So we can still get a little bit more of that warmth there. By tomorrow morning, 71, 76 by 9 a.m. Most folks are going to be in the upper 60s to lower 70s for your morning time temperatures. Exception will be the North Georgia mountains in the low to mid 60s. And your heat risk tomorrow, moderate from about the metro area up to Lake Lanier and then over towards Lake Hartwell along the Georgia-South Carolina line. Everyone else kind of in the moderate or the minor category. And it's because our temperatures aren't quite as high. So tomorrow I think we're going to be looking for upper 80s to lower 90s across most of North Georgia. I think for the most part, really, though, I think we're going to be in the 80s. So not as much heat to work with. I think that's one of the reasons we're going to see a slightly lower storm coverage for them. Same for Monday. We're going to be talking mid to upper 80s for most of us. A few lower 90s possible And we're going to continue to watch that as we go in towards Tuesday with those temperatures dropping due to the fact that we have the rain in place. It's a quick drop, though. Notice by the time we get into Wednesday and Thursday, those temperatures are going to be going right back up. And that's because after our rain chances on Tuesday, we're going to be looking at rain chances really starting to head on down. So your 7-day forecast shows we do have a first alert weather day for that Tuesday. Our next Braves on Gray Day is going to be on Friday. That is the 4th of July holiday. It's going to be the beginning of our holiday weekend for a lot of folks. The good news is it looks like it's going to be dry. Yeah, it's going to be hot. Not like we saw last week, so that's some great news there. But I think for the extended holiday weekend, folks would rather it be hot and dry than wet and, kind of cool. And that's exactly what we're going to see. So hopefully we can get those fireworks shows and everything out, without a hitch and enjoy it. So now for tomorrow, I kind of want to point out a few things that we're going to be keeping an eye on here. So for the afternoon, notice those showers and storms kind of bubble up. Not as many tomorrow as what we saw today. So that's one of the reasons that we don't have that first alert weather day tomorrow. That's not to say that you won't see any heavy rain in your area. What that's saying is I don't think there's going to be as many storms tomorrow as there are for today. And the same can be said for your Monday. Now, by Tuesday, that's when that front is going to start to push through. And it's a slow mover, and models are having a hard time figuring out just where it's going to stall out. European wants to push it through. We're kind of leaning towards that. The GFS wants to hold it in place. And when that happens, it would give us maybe a little bit more rain into your Wednesday. Now, neither one of them hold it in here for Thursday or Friday, so that's some great news there. But by then, both models fairly good agreement that we're going to see dry skies Thursday, Friday, Saturday, even Sunday. Highs in the low to maybe mid-90s as we get into the middle of next week. I think more so the heat index will be in the mid to maybe upper 90s. Again, that's about average for this time of year, so nothing really out of the common and out of the ordinary there. But otherwise, I think a lot of us are kind of getting tired of this back and forth with the heat and the rain and the heat and the rain and the heat and the rain. So maybe we'll settle into more of a typical summertime pattern as we head into the middle of July. And that's what this is. Notice, though, most of the country, Atlanta included, is going to be looking at a higher than average temperature trend as we head into July. So that's really going to kind of make it feel a lot warmer and hotter than it typically is. So, unfortunately, it looks like the heat is here with us to stay. Summertime as a whole is looking like it's going to be a little bit on the hotter side. So it's just one of those things that we live in the South, we'll grin and bear it and we'll just kind of deal with it. But hey, at least, it's not super hot like it was last week. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see. Again, though, I'm going to bring back up the radar because I do want to point out that even though the rain is kind of coming to an end in the Atlanta area, as we zoom in here, we are starting to get reports and videos of this area where there's been significant flash flooding across the roadways there. I'm going to take the warning off, that little green polygon that you see flashing there. That is the warning, the flash flood warning, and where we are seeing some pretty significant rain accumulation. Again, some of these areas have seen over 2 inches of rain, and a lot of that came within a 1 hour period. And then even though you're not warned, I just want to say for folks traveling on 278 and then also over in towards the Highway 5 area of Cobb County, just keep in mind you could see some localized flash flooding in your area as well, even though you don't have the warning, just due to the significant amount of rain that has been falling in those areas right now. So that's kind of a wrap-up of your forecast for this evening. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of show you where the heaviest rain is one more time before we start to, wrap things up. And don't forget, even though we're wrapping things up, we're going to be back on there at 10 o'clock on Peachtree TV and also on Atlanta News First at 11 p.m. So if you're traveling up I-75 towards Marietta, the South Loop is seeing some very intense rain right now. Lightning kind of flaring up a little bit. Also, if you're going to be traveling on 120 towards Roswell, you'll see some very heavy showers. And then over into the Johns Creek, Duluth area, some very heavy rain and possibly the potential for some small hail. Could be extending down towards the Berkeley Lake, Peachtree Corners area. And again, this particularly heavy cell, and there's definitely some hail in this. Whenever you see that little black spot start to pick up there, there's definitely some hail that's coming down here. So that's going to be between Old Winder Highway and Bragg Road over towards Friendship Road in that area. That's where we're going to see that hail here. I'm kind of curious, what is it's not picking up too much, even though it's coming in that black color. So it's maybe half-inch hail, maybe just a lot of heavy rain to go along with that hail. So either way, Cherokee Bluff High School, just to the south of there, is where you're getting absolutely hammered in terms of rain and possibly pea-sized hail in that particular area and over towards the Ednaville and Brazelton area. We'll continue to watch this as we head into the evening hours. Again, thankfully, we are not seeing anything in terms of severe weather for this evening, just some stronger storms that we've seen bubble up and are now starting to pop back down. And again, we will pop back on the stream if we do get any more warnings out there. Until then, though, again, on at 10 at Peachtree TV, 11 on Atlanta News First. And have a blessed and wonderful evening, and stay safe out there.
Stay up to date on your latest weather from the largest team of meteorologists in the Southeast. Download the First Alert Weather app for hour-by-hour forecasts and join us every weekday at 11:30 a.m. on ANF+. You can also text weather to the number on your screen, and we'll send a link directly to your cell phone.